What's up, guys? For today's topic, I'm going to be talking about bodybuilding tips for beginners. How to build muscle effectively and efficiently as much as possible. Because I see a lot of people experiencing issues with gaining muscle, even though they are putting in the so called hard work. Okay? So, with these tips, you are going to build muscle and continuously building muscle over time. You will build muscle that you have never built before because perhaps you never done any of these. So, with that being said, let's begin. Tip number one, focus on the stretch, guys. The stretch is one of the most important things when it comes to bodybuilding or building muscle, because when you are stretching the muscle, and what I mean by stretching, I mean by when you are doing an exercise, right? When you are lengthening the muscle, that is called the stretch phase, right? It's either the concentric or eccentric. I forget which one. I get confused on both, but basically it's called the stretch phase. You are stretching the muscle. You're not contracting. You are stretching. And that's one of the most important things, like I said, when it comes to bodybuilding, because that what causes muscle damage. And muscle damage results in muscle gain at the end of the day once you have recovered fully. Okay? And recovery comes along with your nutrition, your sleep, so on and so forth, right? But anyways, back to the point, stretching. If you people aren't focusing on the stretch, if you're doing half-ass full range of motion reps or half-ass reps in general and not utilizing the full stretch to its full potential, then you won't grow the way you are wanting, right? So that is that. Make sure you focus on the stretch. Make sure you focus on the tempo of the stretch. How slow you are elongating that particular muscle. So for example, when it comes to a bicep dumbbell dumbbell curl, right, on the stretching phase, you are wanting to elongate the muscle as much as you can, and that would or will stretch the muscle out, causing muscle damage. And you want to control it as much as possible, right? And this usually comes with using high to moderate weights. You cannot really control heavy weights with 100% like forming and technique, right? Obviously, you will utilize other muscle groups, and it is important to utilize higher weights with more control because you're going to activate that muscle to a better degree. So you are wanting to stay in control of that uh, elongating phase, the stretching phase, and as you are coming up to contract, you are wanting to contract that muscle as hard as you can, and that is tip number two, okay? And that is the contraction. So tip number one is the stretching, and tip number two is a contraction. A lot of people just lift weights just to lift weights, right? Well, when you focus on the stretching and contraction mentally, you are tapping into a system or protocol known as the mind to muscle connection. You are literally feeling the muscle working to its full degree, right? You are feeling the muscle contract, stretch, and use all the muscle fibers within. And that is very good. Once you feel that burn, that means that you have tapped into that muscle to effectively break it down, right? And then you want to stay with that tension. You want to stay with that, right? So that is tip number three. Keep the tension, okay? And when you keep tension, it causes the muscle to work much harder than before. And if you focus that along with full range of motion, focusing on the tempo when it comes to the elongation or the stretching phase and the contraction phase, if you focus on the tempos along uh, with the tension, you are going to cause a lot of damage to the muscle, which results in muscle growth over time, right? Once your body has recovered fully. So that is that. A lot of people don't focus on that, right? And this is very important to understand and to implement into your daily workout routine, because if your goal is to become bigger, to build more mass, to get stronger, and so on and so forth, you people need to going about it in a very effective way, and this is a very effective way to go about, and it is an effective strategy to utilize when it comes to progressing in bodybuilding. And a lot of people don't do that because like I said, they lift weights just to lift weights. They think it's cool and they just want to get done with it. A lot of people are lazy. They don't want to focus on the intensity part. They don't want to focus on the tempo, the slow phases part. They just want to lift the weights just to lift the weights. I don't know why a lot of people like to do that. It makes them feel good, I guess. But you have to focus on every aspect, every detail when it comes to bodybuilding. Okay, so if you feel tension in a particular area, you want to stay with that as long as you can, but don't overdo anything when it comes to bodybuilding. Okay, you want to take it nice and slow with great control, and you don't want to be overtaxing your muscles, because if you do that, you cause too much damage to the point where you can't recover properly. Okay, and that's it, people. That's pretty much it. Those are the top tips that I have for you newbies. If you guys are newbies, if not, then this video may not be for you, but perhaps you did learn a little bit of something. Okay, so essentially, in conclusion, you people want to utilize light to moderate weights with proper, and I mean proper, technique and form. You want to utilize full range of motion. You want to utilize the concentric and eccentric phase of the lift. So make sure you're focusing on the tempo as you are contracting the muscle and stretching the muscle. Okay, both of those phases plays a role when it comes to building muscle. So if you're not utilizing any of those phases, then you're not properly building muscle or properly bodybuilding. So make sure you focus on the contraction phase, going up for about a 4 count or about 4 seconds, and as you are stretching the muscle, elongating the muscle, you're going to do another 4 count or another 4 seconds, and you want to keep that right. That is called intensity. And bodybuilding techniques, you could alter the seconds or the counts when it comes to the tempo. You can alter anything and everything when it comes to bodybuilding. The more you alter, the more you confuse your workout sessions, the more you confuse yourself, the more you confuse your body, the more you confuse your muscles, the more gains you'll get out of it, because your body is a adaptive machine. It adapts to any condition that you bring it to. So that comes along with real life, as in the setting you are in, the environment you are in, and whatever you are doing to your body and muscles. Okay, so the body will adapt to the workouts over time. It will adapt to the intensity. It will adapt to the tension. So over time, and eventually, you will have to switch up the routines and or increase the weights, increase the reps, and so on and so forth. Okay, people. And that's probably the last tip, to be honest, is to really confuse the body and shock the body. Like what I just mentioned, you don't want to be continuing doing the same routines, the same workouts, the same amount of reps and weights and so on and so forth. You don't want to be doing the same repetitive things week by week. You won't progress of anything. More like you will maintain whatever you are having. But if you are wanting to progress in bodybuilding, then you're going to need to shock the body essentially every day. But if you can't, then shocking the body once a week or every week is the ideal thing to do. And that's it, people. Thanks for watching. I'll have a part 2 coming up soon. Subscribe to stay tuned, and you guys have a